we did part one, and that was really discussing what all the different updates are that are available typically through Infor CRM, formerly Saleslogix. And so today we wanted to kind of continue that demystifying, as Bree said, and present you with the actual demonstration of the tool that lets you build or combine your existing or current screen, in this example, with a new screen that's going to replace it. So that does sometimes happen. So, and I'll just say that it's beyond the scope of today's demonstration, and I certainly don't want to give anyone the impression I'm a developer, because I'm not. It's way above my pay grade. But I at least want to show you the techniques that are used by developers in an effort to try to successfully implement an update. And again, we're focusing today on an update that happens to include a plug-in, in this case a screen, that is going to overwrite a screen that already exists in Saleslogix. So your options would certainly be that you can apply that bundle and let it overwrite what you had. But we know for a fact that a lot of people do customize their Saleslogix, and those customizations have value, and you want to retain those customizations even after having applied an update. So Saleslogix does have a method that they recommend for how to do that, at least a tool to help identify where the conflicts lie. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. So I tried to come up with the absolute simplest example I could. But again, I'm going to caution everybody and say I highly doubt that your project would be as simple as what I'll show you today. But if you can leave with at least some understanding of the procedure and the tools and the process, great. Then I think we've succeeded with this. All right, so where do we get started? First of all, in the web client, of course, we're going to use the application architect, so I've logged into that today, and we're looking at the current account detail view. And so I've gone into the architect, opened up the form. This is probably going to look familiar to you. This is the screen you get in and out of the box Saleslogix Infor CRM system if you haven't made any changes to it. But even if you have, that's okay. So you can see it's just pretty standard stuff. So the first thing you need to do is set up your connection with the differencing tool. And so up on the menu, you click Tools, and you'll see an option that says Set Differencing Tool. Now, it's generic because Saleslogix is not dictating that you have to use one particular program or another. They happen to support one of them called Beyond Compare. So we did talk about that very briefly in our last webinar when we fired up Beyond Compare. It's about a $50 program, and it does much more than just compare files themselves. It can compare folders and allow you to look at kind of an A/B style screen. And that's what Saleslogix is leveraging Beyond Compare to do, to show you the old against the new and help you combine in this case, an account detail view, your old and your new, into one master screen that would contain the updates from the update provided, and would also contain, in my example today, a custom field that this particular bundle is called SIC code. So underneath the address, I added a field called SIC code, and that's in the bundle that we're going to apply. And I want that field in my production system. So we're going to walk through how to merge together what I have today along with what is going to be new in this bundle we're about to apply. So in Beyond Compare, there's just some simple setup here. What's the path to the program and the executable? And this is the default path that Beyond Compare put itself in. And bcompare.exe is what launches it. And then I just copied and pasted file 1, file 2. These are some wildcard parameters that Beyond Compare honors. And that way, when I get to a conflicting plugin, it's going to fire up Beyond Compare for me and present me the old and the new side by side. But again, this is all straight out of the box. I downloaded it. I didn't pay the $50, even though we do own it, our developers do. There's a trial version if you want to kick the tires on it. So we are using a trial system. So we click OK. So I'm confident I have Beyond Compare set up correctly. Now the next step would be that I'm going to install the bundle. So I right-click on the VFS of Saleslogix eval, and I'm going to tell it I want you to install that new bundle now that was provided by Saleslogix. And it happens to add the SIC code, so I gave it a name that makes sense. And I click Open. And so now it's saying, okay, I've located your bundle. Here's the path. And then I'm going to click on Next. It's going to step me through a little wizard here. The first thing this install bundle screen presents me with is, hey, look, you've got one conflict. Again, not real world. My sense would be you may pop this open and have many conflicts you have to try to resolve. But so we can make it through this in a couple of minutes, I kept it to one. And if you have many conflicts with the screen that you have to resolve, you don't have to cure them all or correct them all in one setting, which is what this preserved merge content allows you to do. It allows you to make some fixes and corrections and then do kind of a temporary save, and then you can come back the next day and open the architect and continue where you left off until you're completely finished with merging your customization. All right, so it hasn't shown me where the conflict is yet, even though there's only one. So if I click on Next Duplicate, you'll notice it expanded out the whole Saleslogix virtual file system, and it's now showing me which form has the conflict. There's a difference between the detailed view in my out-of-the-box system and the new bundle we're trying to install. So that's what it's telling me here. And now down below we have some options about, well, what do you want to do about it? And you can see there's some validation errors here. There's this little question mark that says, this is broken. There's something you have to do to make it work right. And so we want to make some fixes until we get a green check mark there. So what are your choices? You can override it, or you can override it with the newer one. You can also keep the existing one. So you might say, I don't want to merge these at all. I want to go ahead and take the new one, or I want my old one to stay, and I don't want you to install a new one. But we're going to use the diff merge function, and this is where this beyond compare comes into play. So once I select diff merge, you can see merged item is available to me now. And if I click on that, it's going to open up beyond compare, and now it's showing me the old and the new side by side. So this is my workbench, as it were, to get these merges completed. So the result of this is going to be a new collection of all the old and all the new, as I told it I wanted it to be. And then ultimately we save those changes, and it's this combo file that's the one that's going to get applied into Saleslogix when we do the rebuild. So some tools that help you in here are, you can see that there's this little red area that says, okay, in this 20 pages of code or whatever it is, if you scroll down with this little box, everything's the same, the same, the same, the same, until we get to here, and then it goes, well, wait a minute. You've got this chunk of red code, which means this is a difference I found. Well, the difference is, and again, I'm not a developer, you can see, sure enough, it's my sick code field, because that bundle I'm applying, which is on the left, has that new field on the screen. The current screen doesn't have it. But you notice it automatically put a gap in the file on the right, the destination file in that new bundle. And if I'm okay with the way the code looks, I'm confident, all I have to do is copy it over. I don't have to make any adjustments or change anything. I know it's going to work because I'm a great developer. I'm not, but I'm saying you guys probably are. So I can just say, well, you've highlighted it for me, and if I click the little yellow arrow, it's going to copy that block of code over into the bundle. Now, it's not overwriting the bundle, it's creating an in-memory file. So it's sort of memorizing these changes I'm making. It's not affected my screen as it is today, and it's not affected the bundle we're trying to apply. It's simply comparing the two and creating a third virtual file that's going to have a collection of all of these changes in it. So I'm happy with that. I don't see any more red. So what it's telling me is this is the only change I found is you've got one new field. But you'll notice when I save it now in this upper right corner, I'm going to save the changes because I wanted to use this file. And then we can close Beyond Compare. And it's going to open again because as a result of me adding a field, it says, well, wait a minute, you have to have a label for that field. So the label is another change. So you notice another little red tick mark showed up here way at the bottom. So I scroll down to that little red box, and sure enough, there's the text caption for that particular field. It's missing from this in-memory file we're building today. So I know that I need that too, so I'm going to go ahead and click the arrow, and sure enough, it copied it over there now. And so if I save it again, assuming that's all it's telling me I need to do, close Beyond Compare, you'll now notice that validation errors green check mark. It's done examining the files, and it's concluded that I've taken care of all of the conflicts. And so at this point, I can just carry on by either going to the next duplicate item if I had any. I know there was only one, so I feel I've dealt with it, so we're good to go there. But again, you can do a save as and come back to the next day or whatever you want to do. If you want to keep going, you can keep going. I just click on next duplicate. Okay, so we're happy with all that, and we click on next. And now it just goes ahead and installs the bundle, but with the changes that Beyond Compare helped me create. And the end result of all this is going to be that we are going to have a new account detail view that consists of that new screen we got in the bundle. My zip code ID field should be there, and everybody's happy. So we'll click Finish, and hopefully everything is in order. takes a little while to open. Now, of course, to deploy this, you have to do a redeploy, which moves this new account details screen out to your production system. But we can at least come in here and verify that the bundle did what I hoped it did, which was created that new field for me on my account detail screen. So there it is. The bundle put it in there. I combined it with the old screen. So let's say you had some other fields on your basic screen that weren't in the new one. You could decide to merge them, delete them. You get the drift. So the end result is I have my merged customizations in here. My new field is in here as soon as I build and deploy. Okay, well, Bree, that's what I wanted to show today. I'm just curious if there's any questions. Hopefully they're not developer questions because I won't know the answer, but anybody have any questions about what they saw today? Go ahead and put them in the chat box.
Scott, at this point, I don't have any questions. We can give people a second here and see if anyone else, if there's any questions that do come up. However, I'll take this time to mention that if you are going to be at